Hi, Matt Bisogno here again, and it's only a few days until Cheltenham Festival 2022. So tonight, a special Cheltenham Festival edition of Gold Nuggets, featuring some guest websites. Yes, it's that time of year when we're all scrabbling around for as much information as we can get about the impending jamboree, and in support of that, the knowledge is not all located in one place, so I'm going to share with you a couple of the places that I go to get further information. But before that, let's have a quick look at Query Tool and how we can use that for the Cheltenham Festival. So I've put a few filters in here already. I've gone with the date range from 2009 plus, so that's the full database that we have. The month March and the course Cheltenham, of course. I wanted to look at handicaps in this one, so I've put handicaps here. Now I'm just going to change the distance. Basically I had to change the distance, and I've put this 4.5 miles in here now, but you can see when I filter by, so this is handicap chases, and you can see when I filter by year, the number of handicap chases actually reduced by 33%. It was 6 up until 2015, when we had the novices handicap chase, and also the cross country race was a handicap. From 2016, the cross country race became a conditions race, and from last year, the novice handicap chase was usurped by the mare's chase, which, well, in my opinion anyway, and I think a lot of other people, wasn't a smart move. I can kind of see why they've done that from a kind of breeding perspective, I guess, from elevating certain mares and incentivizing owners to keep mares in training, but it didn't look a smart move when you consider the quality of some of the horses that have come out of that novice handicap chase. Anyway, that's by the by. I just wanted to point out that you might get a sort of a wonky number that doesn't divide by the number of years if you're selecting handicap chases. So what I did, I'm not really interested in the cross-country results. So what I did is I changed the maximum race distance, and this is just out of the window. Oops. To let's do it this way, to 3.5 miles, because I happen to know that the cross country chase is 3 miles 7, and all the other handicaps at the meeting are shorter. I actually changed that to 3 miles 6 now, so you can see we've basically got rid of the cross country races there. So if you wanted to look at handicap chases in Query Tool, this now is the full data set. This is grouped by year. So if I just remove that radio button there and regenerate the report, you can see there have been 64 winners in the 13 years in the database. Not really very meaningful in itself, but if we look at, for instance, we can look at gender, and we've got 3 runners that are unidentified from a gender perspective, which is unhelpful. To be honest, there's not really much to say here. I wouldn't be drawing inferences from that very small cohort of female horses, mares, running in those handicap chases. Age might be more interesting. And we can see that we've got a few older guys who have won, but their strike rate is about 1.5%. So if we were looking at 10 years and up, in fact, why don't we do that? 10 to, let's say, 20 or 18. I'm sure that's got all of them. And we can see, I'll just get rid of that. We can see that they are a collective 5 from 268 for a win percent lower than 2%, and a crippling loss on stakes, and the winners were, let's have a look at the winners here. So if you want to get, if you want to find the winners, just go to the qualifiers tab and then order by position. You might have to click it twice depending on whether it's on a going day or not. And you can see these are the 5 winners here. In actual fact, Croco Bay was 66 to 1. So that they're all chunky. Well, 3 of them were chunky prices. What you might find is that because this Croco Bay was such a beast of a price, it was probably 300 or something on Betfair. So you might find those massive outsiders actually make a small profit at Betfair SP. But this sort of a strike rate is going to make you very sad, I think. At the sharper end of the age range, 5 to 9 years old, if I generate that, you can see that obviously the remaining 59 winners come from that group, and they have a 20% each way rate, which is probably exactly what it should be. But you can then go on and add in additional filters. So, for instance, how does headgear impact? It's going to be a bit of a messy table, this, I think. In fact, we'll do it on place. No equipment is kind of the baseline, and you can see that's sort of 5% win rate and a 20% place rate. And there are usually the application of a tongue tie with something else seems to be advantageous. That's kind of like, that's sort of related to wind operations. Tongue ties just do exactly what they sound like they do. They basically get the horse's tongue out of the way of its airways such that it can breathe a little bit more easily if it struggles sometimes with its wind. We can have a look actually at these handicaps, and again this is just slightly out of the window. I'm just going to, in fact, if I just do that, there we go. Right. So if I click the wind count here, and you can see, I'm just going to order that by group, and you can see that the vast majority actually haven't had a wind op, and of those that have, so if I change this to be from 1 to 100, and that means basically the horse is having it between its first and 100th run after a wind operation. If I generate report there, I'll just get rid of the radio. You can see there 3 from 71, 4%, 21%, which I think was largely in line with expectations. There's maybe nothing particularly to garner from that either. Anyway, the point of this was not actually to come up with any particular angles, but simply to show you how you can slice and dice the Cheltenham Festival data set, in this case handicap chases, for 5 to 9 year olds. Easy for me to say. Let's just do that. And come up with your own interesting angles if that's what you want to do. So that's good old query tool. What else did I want to show you? Well, I wanted to show you 3 resources that I've found that are free. Sorry, that's a kind of a key component here. So there's lots of other great Cheltenham Festival resources, but many of them cost £1 or £2 this time of year, which is reasonable. This first one is called GaultStats, and it's run by Brian Gault, who is quite a vocal guy on Twitter. He's an interesting chap. Usually has something interesting to say, and he has got some fulsome trends data on his website. Let's have a look at the article. And you can see the honours board there, and then various stats, and there's an awful lot of information on the site, as well as the individual race stats. He also has a general trends page, so that might be interesting as well. And there's some key stats at the top here as well, and there's that for every race meeting. So that's GaultStats. I will link to these resources underneath the video if you want to take a look at them. Brian does invite donations to a fundraising page, and obviously it's entirely up to you whether you choose to do that or not. But yeah, that's something worth knowing about his site. So that's GaultStats. Matt Toombs, who for a long time was the man behind the Weatherby's Cheltenham Festival guide. He still is Captain Trends, one of a few sort of, you know, kings of the Cheltenham trends, if you like, and he's put together some really good trends information as a column on matchbook.com, the exchange bookmaker. And again, I'll link to those. There's some. Let's have a look at the Cheltenham trends for the handicap chases. So some chat about the changes in the handicapping approach, which may or may not be a factor this year. And then predictability, maybe. Anyway, some trainer stuff, tactics, stamina, all sorts of really interesting stuff here. Matt's a real student of the game and a very bright chap, and this is well worth a look. He's actually on the panel tomorrow night, as I'm recording this, for the London Racing Club Cheltenham Festival preview. If you are in London, the Cheltenham Festival preview night is a fantastic night. I will be there. So will Matt Toombs. So will Lydia Hislop. So will Lee Mottershead. And so will lots of other Cheltenham aficionados. So if you can get along, do get along. It's at the Holiday Inn Kensington, I think. Again, I'll put something underneath about that just to make sure I've got the right place, because it is a different venue this year from previous years, and it's the first Cheltenham Festival preview for a couple of years, so I'm particularly excited about that. So that's Matt Toombs' stuff on Matchbook, and again, as I say, I'll link to all this underneath. The final thing that I wanted to share is a really interesting PDF produced by the very smart form guys at Timeform. And what I particularly liked about this one was that it uses percentage of rivals beaten, and that is something that I think, particularly when you've got kind of longer, more established data sets, I think percentage of rivals beaten is a very interesting statistic to use. I actually just lost. I couldn't find the percentage of rivals beaten column, but I see it there now. I was expecting it to be on the right hand side. It's the third column along, so you've got some kind of age trends here, and one last time out, seasonal runs, and anyway, lots of stuff. A really interesting document, and I think something that you're bound to stumble upon something that you didn't know previously, or that can help you hopefully find a winner in the coming days. What will we be doing on GG's? Well, of course, how remiss of me not to mention the Cheltenham Festival 2022 on ggs.co.uk, and as you know, we've got our Cheltenham page where we've got the race cards down here. The trends data is in situ now for our trends from Andy Newton. They are up to date, and you can view them from our Cheltenham page. We've got the latest festival news provided by our colleagues at the Press Association, so we're very grateful for that we publish here as well. And the Cheltenham Festival tips content, which at the moment is 2 anti-post previews. I expect the Tuesday, so we get 48-hour declarations for Cheltenham, actually for all the racing at the moment, which is a boon. It's very helpful for people like me who write rather a lot on such meetings. So I, with a following wind, will have my Tuesday full preview on site Sunday night. I very much hope Sunday night. That might be a little bit ambitious, but I'm definitely going to attempt to do that. Thereafter, it will be my great hope that the the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday Cheltenham previews will be available from no later than lunchtime the day before. History tells me that prices often evaporate, not particularly quickly, and certainly not as a consequence of me flagging a horse on GG's, but perhaps just because the horse is the wrong price, and lots of other people have spotted that as well. So that's something to be aware of. It can feel a little bit wonky looking at kind of Wednesday's racing at Tuesday lunchtime before Tuesday's racing, but that's often where the value is, particularly if you can get best odds guaranteed. So you've got kind of the best of both worlds. The other thing to be aware of next week is there will be an absolute onslaught of offers, and whichever ones that you can avail of, you should. If you're a value punter, the best value are kind of free bets and money back on fallers and all that kind of thing, or money back if you're second, third or fourth. Anything where you get where you get to reload essentially on the bookmaker is definitely something you should be doing in Cheltenham Week. Is obviously it's very, very fiendishly difficult stuff, so we must take advantage of any offers that we can, and we must do it responsibly and have a great time. I know I don't need to tell you that. This is this is definitely the last video I'll be recording before Cheltenham. I wanted it to be short. I wanted to share some things that I've been using and will be using, and I wanted to wish you all the very best next week. Should be brilliant sport as ever. I will be there, and I'm very excited about that and looking forward to it. So for now, this is Matt Bisogno saying thank you very much for watching this video as always, and good luck at Cheltenham, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.